What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Jam with Jock. So you want to make your choruses hit harder. I've got 3 simple but effective techniques that's going to be very easy to implement in your own productions. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. Here we are in Ableton. I put together a little track with a pre-chorus and a chorus that I think is going to implement these 3 techniques. So I'll just play this one through first. Tip number 1, having your tracks change key. I know this sounds like a sophisticated and complicated idea, but trust me, it's very simple. And in the playthrough, if you couldn't hear that there was a key change, that's also fine. You don't need to have any sort of music theory to figure this out. So if we take a look at the circle of fifths, this is just a simple way to determine what major keys have the same notes as its relative minor. So for instance, C major here, its relative minor is A minor. An easy way to think about that is C major's keys are all the white keys and A minor's keys are all white keys as well. The only difference being that the C major starts on the root being the C and the A minor's root is the A, not the C. So I would suggest having your verses in minor and then your choruses to be in major. So for this track here, the verse is in D minor and then in the chorus we're going into F major. Moving from the minor scale, which is often perceived as more dark and introspective, to its relative major, which is more uplifting and bold, creates a contrast that makes the chorus feel more powerful or positive. This shift can enhance the emotional impact of the song and make the chorus stand out. This also makes for much more of a natural flow, seeing as in this case the F major shares the same keys as its relative minor, the D minor. The transition feels smooth and cohesive. The listener feels a shift in mood without feeling disorientated by an abrupt change in tonalities. I'll just solo my chords now, which is going from that minor to the major. That in combination with the brass ensemble I've got layered, is really helping that chorus sound more impactful and strong. The beautiful thing about Ableton is you don't need to know any music theory. All you have to do is set your scale. So I'm got it set to D minor here. I know that its relative major is F major by just looking up the circle of fifths. And so any note that's in the D minor is going to be in F major also. And what I like to do when I change keys is I like to have the first chord being that new key change root note. So that's F major in this case. So I've got the F major key, and that way it subtly signals that we've just changed keys. So while it may seem complicated, it's very simple. Just look up the circle of fifths, find out that minor key that you're working with in the verse, and then find out its relative major and then work with that in the chorus. And make sure you have that first chord in that chorus being the new root note that you've changed to. Next, we're going to have a look at the fills and effects that we can use to make that transition going from the verse to the chorus much more smoother. So I'm just going to solo the fills and effects that I've got on at the moment. You can hear it's quite impactful. We've got a short riser, which is building that suspension. We've got this reversed swoop, which is again doing that same thing. We've got a couple of impactful tonal notes, which is signaling the start of that bar for that listener and the drop. And then I've got this drum fill, which I've got lots and sends and returns on to make it sound really large. I've got a room reverb on, I've got some distortion, and I've also got some parallel compression on it. And then I've got a cinematic impact, which is happening on the drop. All of these techniques are really simple, but they go such a long way in building that tension and release. Another thing I really love to do is I love to take away the drums just a bar before the drop. So So listen to this here. So by deleting the kick and the drum group a bar before the drop, it provides a break in the regular flow of the track, which is going to engage the listener. This helps to refocus them right before the chorus, making sure they feel the full impact of it. The third and final technique we're going to look at today, which is a technique I've spoken a lot about on this channel, is automation. Automation is a great way to get the most out of the sounds that you already have. You don't always want to grab extra layers and extra samples to throw on top of things just to make them sound larger. In this case, the kick, I absolutely love this kick sample. I don't want any other layers to it. If we look at the Pro Q3 here, it's already filling all the frequencies I wanted it to be filled, so I don't need any other layers. In this case, because I still want that kick to go up to the next level, I still want it to hit harder in that chorus, I've just got some distortion that's being applied ever so subtly, minus 30 dB. And let's see. You can just hear it's got more weight, it's got more body to it, and that's going to help it just stand out a bit more in the chorus. Exactly the same concept with the snares. I love these two snares together. I didn't need another layer, but I wanted them to be a bit more spacious, have a bit more impact in the chorus. So I've got a reverb into my sends and return, going into a hall reverb. And that's, as you can imagine by the name, it's very spacious. So if we listen to the snares regularly, quite snappy, and then in the chorus, a whole lot more depth and space to them. So as you can see, it's such a simple technique, but it's a way that you can get the most out of your sounds and a way that you just don't need to keep adding extra layers to your tracks. I've also got this ride loop here that I've added in the chorus and not the verse. And just in general, rides are really great drum sounds to add just specifically in the chorus. They really help the intensity lift in the track when you have that ride playing. And just to help the loop not sound so boring over the duration of the chorus, I've got a distortion that I'm slowly building up into. And so it's just having that subtle movement over time. It's just getting bigger and bigger as it goes on. And much like the drums, the piano is a sound that I really like. I don't want to have to add another layer to it. And I like how in the verse it's quite subtle and laid back, but I really want it to get more loud and powerful in the chorus. So I've got that same distortion turned on to minus 20 in the chorus. So the drums was only at minus 30, so this one's going to be even more louder. It's a very subtle technique, but all of these combined together just create for a much more of an impactful chorus. A technique I've talked about on before is resampling your drums, putting them through an effects unit and having that come in the chorus. It just creates an awesome texture. So I'll play this. It's very low in the mix. It's at minus 18. So it's not something you're going to be hearing particularly well, but it's doing a lot in the background. And having this in the chorus and not the verse, it's just adding a bit of an extra layer. And it's just a nice change going from the verse to the chorus with that in it. It's really helped the movement. I've got the panning going from left to right as the bars go on. And I've also got this erosion. It's just moving ever so subtly and giving that extra layer. I'll play it through with everything now and I'm sure you won't even hear it. Now, with all of those techniques in mind, let's go ahead and listen to the verse and then the chorus, and hopefully you hear a nice, impactful sound. As you can see, I wasn't lying at the start. Very simple techniques that you can implement in your tracks right away, and I know they're going to make a big difference. It might seem like you need to know a lot of music theory or you need to be an advanced producer to have a key change, but hopefully by using that circle of fifths, you can see just how simple it is to have that key change, and that way it's going to be a lot more smooth, but you're still getting those tonal distinctions going from that more melancholy verse to a more bold and powerful chorus. As you could see, simply taking away the drums a bar before the drop and then adding in some drum fills and FX Such a simple way to create that tension and release. And then just simply turning on an automation bar just as the chorus hits. Get the most out of your sounds without having to look on Splice for more samples that are going to make it sound more impactful. You're simply turning up that automation line, having it on, and then turning it back down when the verse starts. If you have any questions, please don't be shy to drop them down below, because I'd love to be able to help you. And if you learned anything from this video, I would very much appreciate it if you could hit that like and subscribe button. Once again, thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. If you wanted to keep watching my stuff, then I'm going to put my latest upload just up here. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.